You are such an idiot. You look fat in that outfit. You should work out. I can't believe you made the same mistake again. You're never going to get yourself together. Everyone's going to laugh at you. You should just give up. Were you shocked to hear me say such cruel and harsh things to someone? How many of you have said these terrible things to yourself? Researchers say that most people have over 50,000 thoughts per day, and for some people, 80% of those thoughts are negative. Unfortunately, that harsh inner critic is often the voice we hear most. We say things to ourselves we would never say to a loved one, a friend, or even a complete stranger. But we live in a society that discourages us from owning our gifts and celebrating our skills and talent. Our tendency to criticize ourselves can help us evaluate our actions and behavior so we can improve and grow. Sometimes we point out our flaws and shortcomings to receive validation and approval from others. However, when our inner critic dominates our thoughts, it can lead to serious harm, including depression, perfectionism, and anxiety. It can also hinder our resilience and create roadblocks in our relationships with others. Kristin Neff is a psychologist, professor, author, and pioneer in the field of self-compassion research. She has been recognized as one of the world's most influential research psychologists in her field. Dr. Neff will explain the vital role that self-compassion can play in bringing more balance and harmony to our lives.
When I first started research on self-compassion 20 years ago, the first thing I did was create a scale to measure it. I tend to be kind to myself when things are difficult. I tend to beat myself up. And if you're interested in actually determining how self-compassionate you are, you can go to my website, selfcompassion.org, and you can actually take the test, and it'll tell you how self-compassionate you are. So that's the formal way. The easy way to figure out how self-compassionate you are is just ask yourself, how do I treat my friends versus how do I treat myself? Actually, most of us, we find, treat ourselves much more harshly, we're more judgmental than we are to our good friends. That's where self-compassion steps in. It's there for us in the good times, but especially when we fail, when we make mistakes. Self-compassion says, hey, that's okay, it's only human, I'm here for you. How can we, just try again? There are actually 3 components of self-compassion. In addition to kindness and warmth, there's also mindfulness. In other words, we need to be aware when we're struggling so that we can be there for ourselves. And then finally, really important, compassion is a connected way of being. It recognizes that everyone is imperfect, and this is what differentiates self-compassion from self-pity. So self-pity is self-focused, woe is me. Self-compassion is saying, hey, I'm a human being doing the best I can. There are a lot of misgivings about self-compassion, reasons why people are afraid to give themselves this support and kindness. One, in fact, is that it's going to make them weak. What we know from the research is it's just the opposite. Self-compassion makes you stronger and more able to cope with difficult life circumstances. So for instance, we know combat soldiers who are self-compassionate about the trauma they experience, they're less likely to develop post-traumatic stress syndrome, they're more able to function in daily life. And if you think about it, life's a battle, right, for everyone. And so who's going to make you stronger? If the voice inside your head is an ally saying, I'm here for you, what do you need, how can I help? Or if the voice is an enemy saying, you're terrible, I hate you, it's all your fault. Being a friend to yourself when times are difficult really helps you get through with more resilience. Another big block to self-compassion is the belief that it's selfish, but it doesn't work that way. Compassion is additive. In other words, the more compassion flows inward, the more we have available to give to others. Another misconception about self-compassion is that it's just giving yourself a break, being easy on yourself, which easily equates to self-indulgence. But self-indulgence means giving yourself pleasure in the short term at the expense of long-term harm. If you care about yourself and you want to alleviate your suffering, then you aren't going to do that. The number one block to self-compassion is the belief that it's going to undermine our motivation. We really think that we need to be hard on ourselves in order to motivate change. And the thing is, self-criticism does kind of work as a motivator, but it works the same way harsh criticism works to motivate children. So if a child gets a failing grade, yeah, you can motivate that child to do better by punishing them. There are consequences to doing that. For instance, that child may develop anxiety because they know if they fail, they're going to be considered stupid. They may just give up. They may not know that it's okay to fail, that that's how we learn. So self-compassion is much more like when we motivate that child with encouragement. You can do it, I believe in you, but really importantly, how can I help you achieve your goals? And the research is very clear that it's more effective than self-criticism. We've developed a lot of empirically supported self-compassion practices over the last 10 years or so as part of the Mindful Self-Compassion program. So some of these are quite simple. For instance, self-compassionate letter writing. You can either imagine that a very compassionate person was writing to you, or you can imagine that a good friend you cared about was going through the same situation you were and write a letter to them, and then kind of just slip your own name in the end. There was one study that found if you do that every day for 7 days, it reduces depression for 3 months and increases happiness for 6 months. So it's a lot of benefit for not that much work. Another good way to give yourself compassion is through physical touch. Through evolution, we're designed to experience touch as a signal of care. That's primarily how parents communicate compassion to infants who can't speak. So you can put your hands on your heart, put your hands on your face, maybe on your stomach, give yourself a hug. And it actually changes your nervous system, activates. So you help calm yourself, you help physically support yourself in a way that's simple and really effective. So the good news is it's not as difficult as you think to practice self-compassion because we already know how to be compassionate toward others. You just need to do a little U-turn and use those skills that you normally use with others toward yourself. And you can give compassion to yourself anytime, in times of success and happiness, but also in times of really difficult challenge and failure.
We hope you enjoyed this video. For more resources and to continue learning, please visit the link and join the Compassionate USA Skills course.